attention. I'd like everybody to silence their phones and okay. Thank you.
Last meeting, this is the new speaker system. It is on and it's very.
All right. If I could have everybody please silence their phones. Today is February 13th, 2024. I'd like to welcome to you to the Planning Commission meeting. We are all commissions are present except for Kevin, Andy, and Mike. I will lead us in a prayer, and Joey will lead us in the pledge. Please stand. Heavenly Father, today we look down, bless all around. May the loved ones we lost look down. May it guide us. And in Jesus' name, amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all. All right. So for the January 9th and January 23rd minutes, have the commissioners look that over, and do we have any comments?
Motion to be approved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All against. Moving on to old business. The deferred from January.
You have two sets of minutes.
I made a motion for both.
Oh, both.
I made a motion. Okay. Talking about old business from January, Winchester, 100 Winchester Drive for a short-term rental application. This is not a public hearing for it, so we're going to open it to the planning department. Carolyn?
Okay. Yeah, as you recall, this was on last month's agenda and was deferred. So what it is an update to the previously held public hearings based on the information that was discussed at those meetings that are listed here in August, September, and October. What you have in front of you is additional documentation of both received from the applicant and also additional documentation of advertisement for less than 30 days. So that's what we have to provide to you as follow-up, and with that, our recommendation would still be for denial based on ongoing activity and advertisement. And also, city attorney can provide any additional information regarding the covenant restrictions. And that remains our recommendation.
And I'll just add, it is my recommendation to deny based on the covenants, in addition to Carolyn's discussion on the advertising. But I also have, we discussed this in executive session last month, and this was deferred to give the applicant an opportunity to be here, which they are here tonight, the applicant and her attorney. So we'll give them an opportunity to speak. I also have in front of me a packet of all the filings in the Chancery Court matter on this case that I would like if one of the commissioners can make a motion to accept this into tonight's record.
Do we have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
And that's all I have.
All right. Carolyn, any more input?
And that's just, the information is presented in the memo and along with the applicant's written input that was received subsequent to last meeting. And I know that they are here if there was any information that they wanted to provide.
Okay. Is it any commissioners? All right. Would the Buckleys like to get up and talk?
evening, Planning Commission board members. I'm here tonight to request recommendation for approval for my Marisol Buckley SCR permit for 100 Winchester. Can you hear me okay? I want to be clear that I have not operated this property as an STR in the past. I voluntarily submitted my rental records with my last letter in hopes that to put this issue to rest. My property has been active on Airbnb now for a year, remains active, but I'm the sole person who approves or declines all rentals and requests. Guests have never had the ability on any platform that I'm on to automatically book my property without explicit approval. I'm not on whatever you call it, Instabook, where you can automatically book. They must go through me each and every time. Not just for the 30-day criteria, for the other criteria that our demands expect my guests to uphold. I've also used this property as our personal guest house for friends and family who are passing through the area visiting, and I don't charge them. As to the covenants, I have no legal training, but it's obvious to me that the covenants discuss construction of single-family homes, not who is permitted to use the homes. The covenants clearly do not prohibit use of my property as an STR. In close, I ask you, as a property owner in Ocean Springs and a businesswoman in this community, to treat me fairly and equally, that we have treated other applicants, and to recommend 100 Winchester for approval. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Sean Buckley, 6101 Old Oakview. I think there are two issues that are really the crux of this issue. One is being the question of whether this property has operated improperly as an STR in the past. I think it's critical to understand the language of your present ordinance, which in a single paragraph defines what an STR is. And under that definition, the facts just simply do not support the suggestion that this has been operated as an STR in the past at any time. There are a certain kind of marketing strategy, if you will, about how this property was promoted on online platforms, but it was never at any time made available to a guest for rental, for compensation for a period of less than 30 days. As to the issue of the covenants, with due respect to my esteemed colleague, Mr. Norman, I adamantly disagree with the interpretation of the covenants. And I know I'm biased. I've been practicing law for just under a quarter century, and as I read these things, it's just clear as day to me that they do not prohibit the use that is suggested. It is purely a construction type regulation as to what type of structure, single family, are to be built. There's no suggestion as to use, and the prevailing precedent in the state of Mississippi for at least the last 50 years has been clearly against the application that is being suggested. So with that, I conclude and simply ask that the facts and the law be applied in fairness to the applicant. Thank you.
Okay,
Yes.
just a couple of questions, just so the record's clear tonight.
Yes.
I won't get into my interpretation of the covenants. I'll remain, my interpretation of the commissioners is based on denial. In terms of, I understand you and I have differing opinions as to operation of the covenant.
Yes.
Operation under the ordinance.
Yes.
Operation of the short-term rental under the ordinance.
Correct.
But the city has repeatedly come to you, or the applicant, and said, you know, it's up for short-term rental for less than 30 days. And repeatedly, I believe y'all have pulled those advertisements down, and then they've come back up. Is that not correct?
I can't speak to that directly. I can represent to you that at times that you have brought this to my attention, that I've conferred with the applicant, that we have, as far as I understand, remediated the problem. It has certainly not been, I don't think it's been our intention in any way that we violated our informal agreement as to what was being done. I think Airbnb is something that is certainly understood by the applicant. I think she's less familiar with VRBO, and I don't know if that was the center of the issue, but
Well, I think it's been very clear from both myself and from the planning department on repeated instances that do not have it listed for 30 days or more, or 30 days or less, period. And some of those in the past have been remediated, and it's laid out in tonight's packet. We don't need to get into a back and forth on it, but I just want to be clear on the record on that point. But
yes, sir.
that's really all the questions I have.
Understood, and it is true that you and I have had those discussions. I just simply can't speak to the particular instances that you're referring to. Thank you, sir.
All right. Do the commissioners have any comments? Joe? All right. Does the commissioners have a motion they would like to present on the findings?
I make a motion to deny the short-term rental for 100 Winchester Drive based on documentation of the continued listing of the property with the ability to book for less than 30 days, as well as previous discussion of restrictive covenants and subsequent legal activity. The recommendation of this request remains to deny the permit.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All against? Unanimous? Okay, move on to new business. This will be a public hearing for 1222 Londonderry Lane, PIN 61098230. Is requesting a short-term rental permit. Karen?
Go to public.
Yeah, do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved. Second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right.
As stated, this is a residential short-term rental permit request for, make sure I'm on the right one, 1222 Londonderry Lane. The local property manager resides on McGinnis, which does satisfy the residency requirement. The inspection took place on December 19th and was approved for a maximum occupancy of 6 and a maximum number of vehicles of 6. There was, notice was sent to 63 property owners, and as of this meeting, no input was received. So there were no code violations, no other infractions reported over the last 12 months, and all other conditions were satisfied. So it is recommended or eligible for a short-term rental permit subject to annual renewal.
All righty. Before we open it to the floor, does any of the commissioners have any comments? All right. We're going to open it to public comment on this for Londonderry. Anybody in favor or against, please come up to the podium. You will have 3 minutes to speak. And please give your name and address.
My name is Tom Nicholson. I am the property owner at 1224 Londonderry, adjacent to the property. Quickly, I've lived there 20 years. I've had rentals on the north side. I have senior citizens on the opposite side of me. They have a special needs young adult. The property right across from 1222 is currently a rental. The property next to the one that's above the rental on the east or west side of Londonderry is retired, elderly. As far as 1222, I've had a long and storied history with that property. I woke up one morning and found a horse in the backyard. I've had a lady that wanted to flip the property in 2008, which was the bottom of the housing market. And of course, I was to blame for all of her problems being unable to sell the property. The latest owners back in November, December, had some very sad social issues and were forced to sell the house. The property owners that we have now, I have had no problems with them. The property, matter of fact, driving here tonight, there was a little bike out in the front yard. And there was a young lady, and we've had no noise, no disruptions, no parties, which is what I'm really concerned about, is that I don't know what a short-term rental is. And so that's my concern, and I don't know how long the permit lasts for. So can y'all update me on that?
Yeah, just real quickly, they're renewed annually, but they are subject to inspection and review every year. So any complaints of noise or code violations in general, but especially noise violations, parties, things like that, could result in enforcement or revocation. So we do keep track of any complaints on the activity.
Carolyn, can you speak to the amount of complaints we've had since this program began? Since
2015, one. I've had one property, and even then, we will issue a warning to that property owner that if it becomes a habit, then we recommend it for revocation, and we haven't had to do that. So.
You said something about the owner lives where?
Well, they are required to have a local property manager that lives within 2 miles of the city limits, and the local property manager for this, and it doesn't have to be the owner, lives on McGinnis, just here downtown, so they do have somebody that lives in the area.
The property manager for this property is here tonight, and I think she would like to get up and speak,
Yeah.
so she might be able to clear up some stuff for you.
Okay, I just want to be able to, if something happens, and I've had other issues other than what I've talked about here tonight, with that property, and I've got some issues that may affect her property. So I want to be able to get a hold of whoever the property manager is
Okay.
and resolve those before they get serious.
Yes, sir.
Yes, Karen.
Yeah. Karen, would you like to come up?
And just for tonight's purposes, I'm going to keep the discussion to the short-term rental application.
My name is Karen Stennis, this one, and I am the property manager for that piece of property. The owner does not live in the country, she lives out of the country, her daughter lives here, but I can guarantee you that you will have my phone number, my address, and you can call me at any moment and let me know if there's something bad going on, because I do long-term rental property management too. I don't put up with any of that stuff. So,
I'll talk to you after the.
I will reassure you that I will give you my phone number and everything, so. We've got some long-term renters in there right now, and hoping after they leave in June that we'll go to short-term, so.
Thank you, Ms. Stennis.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on 1222 Londonderry? Name and address, sir.
My name is Jerry Stumbo. My address is 1224 Wellington Lane, which is within the 500 feet that the ordinance says. I'm against any kind of rental. Now, I know long-term I've got little to say about, but from what I've seen, my life experiences tell me that short-term rental, particularly in a resort area where we are, is going to bring problems. And I don't need any more problems. I've been here a wonderful 28 years, and I'm just against it because my life's history says that it's not going to be good.
Okay. Thank you. Would anybody else like to speak on 1222 Londonderry? All right. Gonna move on. Do I have a motion to close public hearing? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Unanimous? All right, do the commissioners have a motion?
I'd like to make a comment, if I may.
Yes.
As you've heard, the number of complaints we've had on short-term rentals since 2015 is one, okay? Long-term rentals, you got no comeback, okay? Short-term rental, if you have a problem, you can go to the planning department, and if it's justified, they lose their ability to rent that property, and they can turn right around tomorrow and put it on a long-term rental, and you have no recourse over that. So a number of years ago, the city was aware that rentals were of concern to a lot of citizens. The only thing we had the ability to control was short-term rentals. That's why we put in effect this regulation, this ordinance, and it gives some control over short-term rentals on your property. So if you have the option between a long-term rental and a short-term rental, and based on my personal experience in neighborhoods where I've lived with both, you're best served to have short-term rentals in your neighborhood rather than long-term rentals. That's just my personal opinion. I make a motion that the short-term rental for 1222 Londonderry Avenue, Lane, PID 61098230.000 be approved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Unanimous? Moving on to 296 McCool Street, PIN 61305177 Point Triple Lot. Do I have a motion to go into public?
Moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Unanimous? Carolyn?
Okay. For McCool Street, the local property manager resides on Magnolia Bayou, so that does satisfy the residency requirement. There were 66 notices mailed out, and as of this date, I did not receive any input. The inspection was completed on December 19th, and 6 guests and 4 vehicles were approved. There were no code violations or any other infractions reported within the last 12 months. All other requirements were consistent with the ordinance, therefore it is eligible for a short-term rental permit subject to annual renewal.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Before opening the floor, does any commissioners have any comment?
I just want to add another comment to what I said earlier. You notice also that these properties are inspected by the fire marshal, the building inspector, and everything else to make sure that they're in compliance. Long-term rentals, nobody looks at them. They just advertise it and it goes out on the street. So the city has made a concerted effort to address the concerns of property owners for rentals. The only thing we've been able to address is short-term rentals. So I just offer that for your consideration.
Thank you, Marshall. Would the applicant like to get up and speak on? There's the applicant here.
I'm here for the applicant, but we're good. We're okay.
Y'all are good? Okay. Moving on to, is there anybody for or against would like to get up and speak in the podium on McCool? All right. Do I have a motion to close public hearing? Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right. Do we have a motion?
I make a motion to approve 296 McCool Street, PID 61305177.000 for short-term rental permit. And the property is in complete compliance with the adopted code of this inspection. Pass recommendation approval for this residential short-term permit, subject to annual renewal.
Second.
All in, so, yeah.
Second.
Yeah. All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Unanimous? Thank you. All right, moving on to short-term rental application for 305 Taringo Circle. The PIN is 61375060 Point Triple Lot. Valerie Lewis is requesting the short-term rental. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All against? Carolyn?
All right, for this one, the local property manager resides on Legion Lane, which also satisfies the residency requirement. Excuse me, 74 property owners were notified, and we did not receive any input officially back to the planning department as of this time. The inspection was approved on December 28th for 6 guests and 3 vehicles. No code violations or any other citations were found for the last 12 months. And all other requirements were satisfied, so therefore it is eligible for a short-term rental permit, subject to annual renewal.
Thank you, Carolyn. Is the applicant here would like to speak? All right, so we're going to open the floor to public comment on 305 Taringo. Is there anybody for or against can get up and speak in the podium? All right, we're going to move on. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Unanimous. All right, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve 305 Tarango Circle, PID 613750634 for a residential short-term permit subject to annual renewal.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Unanimous. Thank you. All
And
right.
just housekeeping, Matthew, just because some people may not know, these don't go to the next agenda, they will be on the first agenda in March.
March.
For approval, and we'll call
Yeah.
it.
Board agenda, first meeting in the month.
Yeah.
All righty. Moving on to public hearing for 104 Blue Herring Boulevard, PIN 60127080.050, Lucas B.B., requesting a short-term rental. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor? All against? All right, Carolyn?
For this property, the local property manager actually will also reside on the property, so it obviously satisfies that 2-mile requirement. The notice was sent to 52 property owners, and there should be in your book 3 emails if you want to.
Yeah. Do I have, has the commissioners read the emails, and do I have a motion to accept those into the minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against?
So the emails that have been accepted with the concerns and objection to short-term rentals. So beyond that, but prior to issuance of the packet, no input had been received. The inspection was held on January 2nd and approved for a maximum occupancy of 8 and maximum number of vehicles of 5. No code violations or any other citations were issued over the last 12 months. Therefore, it is eligible for subject to annual eligible for short-term rental permit subject to annual renewal.
All right. Thank you, Carolyn. Before I open the floor, do I have any commissioner comments or anything? None? All right, would the applicant like to get up and speak?
The applicant is my twin brother, Luke. I'm
Yes.
James, the property manager. Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. Sometimes I don't get to put a face to names.
Thank you. If anybody is for or against, would like to get up and speak on.
And I believe my brother, I don't know if you guys sent an email in response because I've done VRBO and Airbnb in Tennessee for 10 years. We did it in New Orleans together for 3+ years, never had a complaint, and we take it very seriously. I will be on site in the separate entrance apartment. If Luke's in country, he'll be on site.
Okay. Camille, you got that? Thank you. Thank you. All right. So moving on, do I have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right. We're moving on to public hearing for,
We did a motion.
yeah,
So,
I'm tired. I apologize, y'all. Yeah. All right. So where we go? Okay.
Motion.
Yeah.
I
Need a
make-
motion.
I make a motion to approve 104 Blue Heron Boulevard, PID 6012708000.05 for short-term rental permit, subject to annual renewal.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Unanimous. Thank you all.
It's okay, really.
All right, moving on to public hearing for 108 Hickory Avenue, a PIN 61605204, Point Triple Lot. Beth Holland is requesting a short-term rental permit. Do I have a motion to go into public hearing?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All in favor?
Aye.
All against? Ms. Carolyn?
all right, for this property on Hickory Avenue, you do have the local property manager with an address on Legion Lane, satisfying the residency requirement. Notices were sent to 52 property owners with no input received at this time. Inspection was approved on January 9th for a maximum number of guests of 6 and a maximum number of vehicles of 2. No code violations or any other citations were found. All other requirements are compliant, and therefore it is eligible for a short-term rental permit subject to annual renewal.
Thank you, Carolyn. Before we open the floor, does any commissioners have any comment? No. All right, is the applicant here tonight? Would like to speak on it? Representing, if you would like to get up and speak. All right, thank you all. Is anybody for or against the short-term rental on Hickory? Can get up and speak on the podium. All right, we have no comment. Do I have a motion to close public hearing?
So moved.
Second.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, unanimous. Do I have a motion?
I make a motion to approve 108 Hickory Avenue, PID 61605224.0004 for residential short-term rental, subject to annual renewal.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, thank you. That concludes the new business. Moving on to general public comment. Is there anybody in the audience that has any comment for the planning commission? All right, moving on to commissioners' forum. Commissioners? Marshall?
I move that the meeting be adjourned.
All right, we're gonna make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All against? All right, thank you all.
Coming out on the.
For some reason, I'm tired.
The queen cake.
I'll leave it around. See how it goes. Around and then to the other side.
You know, email me.
Okay. And thank you for your help.
Oh, absolutely.